Hey guys, and welcome back to day 2 of my November improvement arc. Today I had some really interesting games, bit of a mixed bag. My last game was a bit of a frustrating game, uh, but overall I'm pretty happy with how today went. Today I actually had some success. On the first day I lost pretty much all my games except one. But today I think I won 3 out of 4 games on Irelia. I didn't get as many games in today because obviously I was watching Worlds. I'm not going to spoil, but it was a really good Worlds, and yeah, I still managed to um, get my gym session in, so that felt really good. The eating went really well today. I managed to get in a lot of calories, and the sleep was a bit weird last night. For whatever reason, I went to bed at 2. I read my book for 30 minutes, and but for some reason it took me literally 2 hours of lying in bed trying to go to sleep. So I ended up going to bed at 4 instead of 2. Well, not to bed, but I ended up going to sleep at 4 a.m. So I only got like 6 hours of sleep. But I still feel like I played pretty well today. All my games, all my lanes felt pretty clean today. There wasn't really a lane that I felt like I played super poorly. Um, and mostly, well, you'll see when we get into the reviews. So, yeah, let's go into review one. Okay, so for the first game of today, we had Irelia versus Ryze. Now, this ended up being a pretty interesting game, and I'll show you why. This game, I actually ended up being up 4,000 gold at 15 minutes, and I'll it has something to do with grubs, so I'll show you how that ended up happening. But yeah, there are just two small notes here. The first one is a really important one. Pretty much as soon as you see that the enemy has phase rush, it kind of changes how you want to play all-ins with Irelia. For example, I remember a big meta with Orianna with phase rush, and that used to be a bit of a problem for Irelia because if the Orianna was good, she could utilize her phase rush to try and get out of the R slow. So holding your R before the phase rush was really important. This is a similar concept. Now, when it comes to dealing max damage in an all-in with Irelia, you want to maximize the amount of auto attacks you can get per Q. So for example, let's say you're chasing someone down. Usually you can get about 3, 2, 3, maybe 4, depending on, boots, slows, movement speed, that sort of thing. But you can get typically around 3 auto attacks per Q. So obviously, if you're chasing someone, if I'm next to this Ryze here and I'm chasing him down, the more I auto attack Ryze, the faster he's going to be than me because I'm stopping to auto attack and he's just straight up running away. So how it works is you need to auto attack him for as long as you're in range to auto attack him, and once he gets out of range, then you Q. I see a lot of Irelia players try and Q when they can still be auto attacking, and then because of that, um, the enemy runs out of range of their auto attacks when Irelia no longer has Q, and then they can no longer chase them down or get damage. So what you'll see here I wanted to maximize the amount of auto attacks I got on Ryze before I consumed this Q mark. And then once I would Q to the E mark, then I would again keep on auto attacking until it was no longer in range, and then I would Q to him a final time and auto attack him until he was no longer in range. But here I forgot to I anticipated the root, but I thought that, without the phase rush he would still be inside my Q range by the time the root's over. And obviously I didn't take the phase rush into account, so he was able to run out of my Q range before the root ended, and I wasn't able to do any more damage. What I should have done here is I should have pretty much instantly Q'd right now. That would have put me behind him, and then with the phase rush, if he ran this way, potentially, then I could Q on him another time. But yeah, in this case, because he had phase rush, to maximize my damage here, I should just consume the mark earlier. Then yeah, at 544, there was a bit of an interesting trade here. Yep, so here, if you don't know about the general theory, basically, whenever you dash on someone like this on Irelia, this is the general theory of throwing E's. Whenever you dash on someone like this, they're pretty much going to run exactly the opposite direction of whatever side that you dash on. So because I'm dashing on this side, he's going to he's going to dodge to this side. It would be very illogical for him to dodge into me because then I can auto attack him. So whenever I dash alongside him like this, I want to he's going to pretty much try and dodge the E away from me. So you can use that to anticipate what side they're going to dodge to, and of course here he follows the general theory of dodges, and so I just didn't lean it enough here. Then the final note is really just about the importance of the proactivity around neutral objectives. Here, for example, I'm making sure that I have a slow stack, and then I move up towards the grubs. We didn't end up taking grubs there, so I come back mid, and then now my jungler wants to grubs, so I make sure to hard shove this wave. I help him with grubs, and this just makes sure I'm securing grubs because yes, it helps my team, but as you'll see later on, Irelia and grubs are an incredible combo. So right now I'm really making sure that I prioritize getting prior around objectives and making sure that I'm at the objective plays with good health, good items, making sure I'm not sitting on too much gold, that sort of thing. And that proactivity really helps me, I'm noticing at the moment, because I'm picking up the majority of the objectives in my games. And then as for why grubs are OP, what you'll see here is I end up making a bit of a roam onto the Wukong. I kill him here, then I push top. I do a good job keeping up my stacks here, and I'm able to get 5 plates in First Blood Tower. And now I run mid because I have 1 cull stack, and now I have 4k. I'm sitting on 4k gold at 11 minutes. So yeah, that's really why grubs are really important to prioritize. Okay, so for game 2, we have a bit of a boring game. Level 1, Viego went for some weird invade, and based off that, I ended up getting First Blood, and we got their flashes, and then Urgot ended up running it down based off of this. So not the most interesting game. But I did have 2 small notes here. Actually, the first one was a very big note, very replicable. So basically what ended up happening is off that first blood, I wanted to base ASAP and spend that gold so I could have the maximum advantage in game. Because if I'm just sitting on that 400 gold, it's not really going to any use. So what I ended up doing here, I just stacked 3 waves and did a bit of a cheater recall here. Now, what in my mind, what I wanted to do was I wanted to try and keep him in lane here if possible. But yeah, I ended up over trading a bit. I took a tower shot, but he has TP here, so this doesn't really make sense at all. What I should do here is the wave's coming out to me, I should just let it come out and freeze. Either he has to take a bad base and reset and TP on a small amount of gold, or he has to play the lane with when I have a massive item advantage and I have the wave on my side. So yeah, here quite a big mistake, honestly, to take this trade. I should just let the wave come out. Then the second note from this game, I ended up, after this trade, now I'm technically even with Sylas. I have pretty decent sustain, but Sylas is just way better at burst trades and short trades, especially when we're on this amount of HP. His W heals a lot. He has a lot of burst damage. So what I really wanted to do here was just lower the volatility. When we're at this HP, the lane's going to be really volatile, so I just wanted to reset, even if I don't have any gold to spend, and just come back at really a good amount of HP. And then because of that reset, I'm actually able to pick up a kill here. This is painful to watch with the mechanical execution. I ended up canceling an auto attack there, and I would have just killed Tarek here as well. But unfortunately, I'm a bit of an ape, so yeah, that's it for game 2. Alright, so for game 3 of Irelia vs Syndra, this was a very interesting VOD with some interesting learnings here that I'll go ahead and show you. Now, when I play against a lot of immobile mages, especially in kind of lower diamond, what they tend to do is they tend to play very passively early sometimes, and just not want to interact in lane because, I guess Irelia mental block. Some people just have a really bad mental block with Irelia, where they're really afraid of her or whatever. So what I ended up doing here seeing that my Shaco went for a Raptors into Invade's path, is then I decided here that if she's not going to take the push, and given that I'm going to need Prio to potentially rotate to the Invade, I'm actually going to trade a little bit more aggressively and take the push myself, and that's what I ended up doing here. I found a nice trade with having the push, and then I just slowly stack this wave. I crash this wave, and now I'm actually going to have Prio to move and help the Shaco here. So this exemplifies two things. First off, if the enemy is not taking push, sometimes in certain cases, unless it's against specific junglers or something like that, it's really nice if you can take the push and get Prio for your team, so that if there's a play like this, you can potentially react to it. The other thing is that the importance of noticing these volatile jungle paths. In this case, we saw Shaco go from our Raptors to the enemy Lee Sin's Wolves. That's a very, very aggressive jungle path, so it's very nice to have Prio for that so that I can move. If I'm now in a situation where I let the wave come in and I'm trying to trade it into Syndra with the wave on my side, there's no way I can move to this. And, sure, this isn't going to happen every game, but because of that prio that I got, we ended up getting a massive advantage here where I picked up 2 early kills, and the game's pretty much over from that. There was one other note here about the MTR flash at 1727. Now, on Irelia, the R+flash is such an important combo. It can win fights. I think a lot of people over-index on R+flashing and they just do it way too much, in my opinion. I think, people, every fight I see Irelia, like low elo Irelias, diamond, emerald Irelias, they just go R+flash, 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 and they just do it every fight. But it is an important tool, and if something unfortunate happens in a fight, it can be a good way to turn a fight around, even if that might not be the initial way you want to play the fight. Here, we just took the dragon. There's nothing really to take on the map. This is kind of just an empty R+flash. I think it would be way better to just save this R+flash. Even here, like I could just R here if I really wanted to take a fight here. There's no reason to R+flash. You just have to be really disciplined with your R and your flash on Irelia and make sure you're not using it for empty scenarios like this. Alright, so those are the main reviews done for today. There's one more review today, which is Irelia versus Cassio. And that's a really, really interesting matchup that I played. I played it in a very different way to how I would typically play it, so I'm kind of interested to see what you guys think of that. To go over the kind of main learnings from today, I would say really just the importance of holding R+flash. Now, again, that can be overrated. People do tend to put too much importance on R+flash, but I think it's very good to be strict about it and not to just blow it for useless fights. Then playing for push when possible, as you saw in the Irelia versus Syndra game. If the enemy isn't contesting you that much, and there's a reason why you might need prio, maybe it's a volatile jungle matchup, maybe you just can push and there's no reason not to. You're not going to be under threat from the enemy jungler. It's good to take that push. You can still find trades like you saw in the Irelia versus Syndra game. I was still able to find a QE at level 3. Should I have been able to find that trade? No. But, in theory, you shouldn't really be able to find any trades if you're going to think about it like that. But, it's really good if you can find moments of taking the push, especially in the early game when junglers might be pathing towards each other. Maybe there are invades going on. And then finally, proactivity for grubs and drakes. Not only are grubs so overpowered for Irelia, just with her attack speed and her tower taking capabilities, but they're just an opportunity for you to find fights. Now, in today's reviews, there weren't that many fights around grubs, but there tend to be a lot of fights around grubs, especially the higher elo you go, where people prioritize having those grubs. There are going to be a lot of fights. So if you're at level 6 coming to a grub fight as Irelia, maybe with pickaxe or something like that, you're going to be really strong in that fight. And winning that fight and getting grubs for your team is going to have a massive impact on the game. And the same for drakes as well. If you can stack drakes, and also use it as an opportunity to find and win fights, it's going to have a massive impact on your games. So yeah, those are the main takeaways. Like I said, I only had 3 VODs today to review. I have the 4th VOD, which is coming out later, but I wasn't able to play as many games today with the Worlds going on. But yeah, if you have any questions, message me on Discord. I'll leave my Discord down below, or just leave a comment. Thanks for watching.